Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Challenge here in Katowice. It is going to be Bad Monkey Gaming up against Ubinited. That is the next semi-final. CM Storm are already there. We'll see who's going to join them.
Yeah, and this is the semi-final that I was really looking forward to. Two very classic teams with some veteran players, to say the very least. And I think we actually know the maps we're going to be seeing. Yeah,
it's going to be Mirage once again. First map of the day. That's the exact same thing for the previous matchup. CM Storm came out on top on that one, but they can see there's the lineup for Black Monkey Gaming. There, of course, is Bad Monkey Gaming. I'm pretty sure that name is wrong, but at least that's I'm like questioning my own mind for a moment there. But there they are. You can see them on your screen, and you mentioned this is really a very big clash. Ubinited, of course, also coming into this one. Bad Monkey, last time they met, came out 16-14 ahead. Now, that was on cash, and that actually is Ubinited's map pick. That will be the second map pick. There's Ubinited on your screen, of course. Miss Harvey and Potter, very much the well-known players from this team. Of course, Die Dim, that's going to be interesting to cast Goose Breeder as well alongside. But yeah, Mirage, Cash, and Inferno if we get to a third map. And this actually has a good potential to make it to that third map.
It certainly could, and it was funny, I was speaking to the, I'd say manager, if not coach, Juvie, the Ubinited guys, or girl, should I say. And he's ex-COD pro, he's been around the scene, he plays CS to an extraordinarily high level as well. And he says, to be fair, they've changed a lot since the last time they met up. A couple of roster changes as well for Ubinited. So they feel they're in a good position to do well here, and they're both very good at the similar maps. So that's going to be an interesting factor here. Both of them will feel comfortable on what they're going to be meeting on. And considering last time it was a very close scoreline they met, I don't think you can read too much into it. And so much has changed since then. It's a different game almost. So, for me, I think Bad Monkey are probably the favorites in this by quite some margin. They are not only veterans, but they, you could argue they can compete at the very top of the scene for a long time. And I'm just looking to see what sort of condition, what sort of form they're in. There's Juvie, the man himself, just, I believe, mostly helps them out, just kind of very much in the background of that team. So looking forward to seeing what they can bring here. But as we said, a lot of personalities going head-to-head. Miss Harvey, a figure in the scene. Potter, great to see coming back into CSGO at this sort of level as well. But Bad Monkey, they're the team to beat pretty much. The likes of Zaz, renowned for years throughout this game. Insanely good. I don't think there's any other way I can put it. She can compete with pretty much anyone. It doesn't matter what team you put her up against. She can do just as well. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm not sure what maps would suit each other best. I know BMG did get to pick Mirage as their first, but as I said, I think it will be more down to side and then just seeing how they warm up to the stage, how they're performing. Because in theory, this should be BMG's game, but I feel Ubinited could do something here.
Yeah, especially when Ubinited pick a map that they have lost recently to Ubinited. I say recently, it was quite a while ago, actually. So it wasn't exactly that recent, so maybe we'll see how it works out. Of course, we're going to have Knife to decide the round. It will be on Mirage. That'll be coming in just a few moments while the players warm themselves up. That's going to be, obviously, trying to go for that side choice, which we did see, obviously, everyone generally goes with that CT side. But as we discovered in the previous match, doesn't always work out in your favor.
Certainly not. So let's get this one started up. Knife round to begin with to decide which side they begin on. I've got to say, once again, CT is always more comfortable, at least in my mind, to get that little bit of a beginning down, get that comfort zone going, get those first couple of pistols building into this. So Zaz taking down Potter, that's probably something they'll always keep you cheerful seeing. But it does look like, quite possibly, BMG will be the ones to pick up the knife here and get choice of side, which United would have wanted. However, it will be BMG to get the knife round, so they will get to pick side. And I'm curious to see which they choose. I'm assuming it's going to be CT.
Yeah, see whether they stick or whether they stay on the T side. BMG starting things off well with the knife round. They went with the four-man gang tactics. It seemed to work out well for them. Pile on rather than sit and go individual skills. Bit of discussions amongst themselves to figure out which way they will go with this one. Just see a little bit of discussions. That is BMG on your screens there. You can see the discussions deciding which way they go. Ubinited on the left side of stage. As you mentioned, GV sat behind them as the coach to try to keep them calm. Of course, you mentioned earlier on that they are certainly certainly experienced with being here on stage. They've done it many times before. ESWC, of course, the last time these were shown, certainly on a gigantic stage like we have here in Katowice.
Yeah, and to be fair, recently, looking at the previous results for Ubinited, they've not had the best of times, some very close games, but then again, they also do play against the male teams, so some of those results are a little off-kill if you want to take it into just this tournament. Whereas BMG you'd certainly put towards the top here. But still, a 16-14 result in the last time they met up really doesn't give us much. So I think it's all about finding where they're at right now, how they're feeling on the stage, how they're playing, how they've warmed up. They've been here a good few days. And I'm certainly excited to see this one go down. I've been looking forward to this semi-final for a long time. Guys, let's get ready for BMG up against Ubinited. T-side will be Ubinited, and as expected, BMG did pick to start on CT, and it looks like they've got a plan as well. A Molly first round with a flash. Yeah,
let's see how that works out. Quick roster for you. Sonia, Vilga, Giuliano, Irene, and Zaz, of course, for BMG. For Ubinited, it is going to be Potter, Miss Harvey. It's Dim, Ita, as she's likely to be known in this one. Die and Goose Breeder. And there is the smokes. It looks like it's going to be an A play.
Yeah, and it's once again the stack towards those apartments. And it looks to be expected by BMG. The Molly will slow down the two, splitting through a ramp. However, the players who were in Palace have made it on towards the site. And now Zaz will be on the receiving end of Miss Harvey. Miss Harvey does go down. But it's a 1-for-1 trade. And at the moment, the T-side yet to get the bomb planted is finally down, and now they have got 3 players standing against the 4 of the CT side trying to retake.
And as you said, the BMG were definitely set up for that, though, and they defended deep, expecting a quick rush into one of those A sides, so they didn't get picked off in the opening rush. But this time around, Ubinited trying to defend that bomb plant. Sonya will get in, Irene comes around the side. Potter taking a lot of damage from multiple angles. Going to be a tricky situation, will get run down. And that will be a defuse for BMG. A good retake, and they read that situation very well.
They certainly did, and bearing in mind, Sonya didn't even need to use the Molotov as well. We had 2 being purchased there, one just dropped down towards that A-ramp. Really nicely played throughout, and to be fair to the T-side, they got quite close. It was a good plan. You know, they got 2 kills off the back of it. It's not exactly the end of the world. They can cleanly eco this. A couple of smokes, P250. Not sure what they're going to go with it. Maybe a B. You know, the short play that we saw coming out in the last game certainly worked well. I'd love to see something similar to that here. However, it looks like a lot of people towards apps, and on the front lines, it will be D. Or die. What do you think we should go? Die?
Die.
Die.
Die. Definitely die. Die and Dim. That's a tricky one. There's a good Molly, though. Sonya's going to get burnt out from this one. They're going to jump out of App's window, but straight into the USB. The UMG just gunning them down, and Sonya, ooh, just got the 4K. Didn't quite get the ace there. One stolen away by Irene with the Bison.
Yeah, that UMP when it's against people with no armor, it just shreds them. It's become such a staple now in the pickups and purchases coming in for CS teams, especially in those second rounds and around that marker. However, it will be dropped out and switched up, and we're seeing the early purchase, the early investment from Ubinited now. AKs, maybe not the full set of what they wanted, you know, a couple of flashes here and there, enough smokes to make any execute they want. But it's still early on, and it can put you on kill if you kind of lose this one. So they're going to be cautious here. It looks like they are still lined up towards mid, so maybe hoping there wasn't an AWP in play yet, but does indeed have it. Repositioning towards connector. I assume there'll be a smoke placed towards there at some point, but at the moment, very slow stuff from Ubinited. Waiting this out, trying to offset the time.
Ubinited going to push on through. Vilga had backed away, was holding the angle in connector, but has wisely stepped away, but that's going to be smoked off. Short push is coming out. Dim going to work her way through. Sonya's just hiding back with Irene. They've both got the angles covered off well for apartments, but not too sure they're ready for the short push that's come through here. Irene will spin around, gets one, but immediately is on her own. She's going to get pinned out. That's going to be down. And now it is Vilga trying to push out from Kitchens. Miss Harvey covering off the shorter angle. Does have a good eye on the Kitchen if anyone to push through, but Giuliano could be the difference here. Just waiting for Giuliano to rotate. Miss Harvey chooses position, leaving herself exposed here. Does manage to get Zaz down, but immediately gets caught out by Giuliano, making that push, and that was a good, clean retake once again from BMG. It seems that Ubinited, they're very good at taking the site, but they just simply got out-angled, outnumbered there.
Yeah, they definitely did, but one thing I've got to say, I do love watching Miss Harvey play. Her movement is absolutely beautiful to watch. It's something not many players actually have to the degree that she does, regardless of which tournament you're looking in. She's certainly one of the more premium players when it comes towards that sort of stuff. So keep your eyes on that going forward. However, we are going to see pretty much a really ecoed up T side here. So this should be fairly simple. If they get a bomb plant, perfect. If they get a kill, maybe get a gun away, brilliant. But Zaz showing that class. The aim is going to be on point from this girl. I don't expect anything less. 2 in a row. She might make it 3, switches up to the USPS, deals well with Miss Harvey, and that is just Zaz to a T. That aim is just sublime regardless of it's on eco or not.
Yeah, easy stuff for Zaz there. The Molly as well that started things off as well, just slowed them down, trying to push up that ramp. They were ready for that. The pistol push. 4-0 to BMG. Good start on the CT side.
And we are seeing Potter actually picking up the AWP, so very interested to see where she's going to take that in this one, as she's not actually heading up towards mid, so Goose going to head underneath. For more. However, look at the aggression. Oh, 2 in 1. Vilga, beautifully done. That is just BMG adding insult to injury. Something you can't predict or depend on, but it's certainly come up good for them. And now the push comes in. Die does get the better of Giuliano. So at least keeping control here. And this aggression from BMG, it's quite a Swedish thing, it seems, that they get in your face. They get aggressive, and they really punish when they have the lead, just to kind of rattle almost the opponents. And Zaz there finding Potter. 2 left standing, Miss Harvey and Dai. I don't see them getting much out of this round.
Yeah, Zaz catching, I think it was Potter, sorry, holding the angle on the stairs, and actually wasn't expecting the aggression to come out from Zaz, who peeks around on that ramp. That's left Miss Harvey and Dai just left. They're going to try and push out at the same time. Miss Harvey gets a peek into dark. Zaz is there. There's going to be the pop flash. Tries to come back around. Miss Harvey managed to duck in. Doesn't get flashed out by that one. Will be for the second time of asking. Dai does manage to get to one. And Miss Harvey
beautiful
picked herself up a double here and just opened up the A site pretty much all on her own. Couldn't quite get around the corner for the bomb plant, and Sonia comes in to save the round for BMG. 5-0 now. A very good CT start.
Unreal stuff coming out. BMG just showing so much towards why they are regarded as one of the top teams at the moment. Yeah, they're on the CT side. They're on the pistols. You kind of expect it to be this way. The economy for the T side is going to be struggling. They're going to force into this one a couple of AKs, a Galil and a Tech 9. And as you can see, they're going to look for maybe an A execute here, get those smokes to work. And as we said, they do get good entry. They get the bomb down. But then the retakes from the CT side have been so strong. So, 5-0. It's going to be 6 or 5-1. We're going to have to wait and see it.
Going for the forest smoke here. Straight across the jungle. Using the angle he tends to go with, which will cover it off nicely. But Giuliano might be a difference here. She's holding in sandwich. Gets 1, gets 2. Tries to go for the triple. Got support from Vilga. Manages to get another down. Vilga spins around. Gets a second. And well, that attack has been cut down in its tracks. Ubinited just have Goosebreaker trying to come through. Goosebreaker will get 1. Won't get the second. Sonia's there. And BMG get themselves the 6th round on the board. Fantastic defense over on this A site.
Yeah, they're just stopping him at the gate now. It was the retakes that were prime before. Now it just seems that they're just starting to stretch their lead and start to feel comfortable here. 6-0, a very dominating scoreline, and the Swedes just looking so good at this. Now, once again, T-side, the American style of play, always getting those forces going, always investing into these rounds, regardless of eco or not. They're always getting a little bit of armor here or there, or a couple of Galils, which we're seeing at the moment. So, Ubinited, gonna have to try and find something new. Currently struggling against the BMG players, but Vilga doing what gifted her that 2-piece earlier on. Gonna go down, not gonna find anything there. However, if you did last time go to connector and watch it from that angle, and Ubinited's slower play through mid actually might favor that.
Well, Dim's gonna get a push actually around mid. Remember, Vilga's down looking at underpass, but Irene would have covered him off. That's the information required. Vilga gonna get gifted the smoke actually from the opposition, which means she will be able to escape into the connector. Miss Harvey taking her peek. Giuliano will find her. And well, Ubinited have been cut down once again as they try and make a play. Goosebreaker, the last person. Goose Breeder, I should say. I keep saying breaker. I don't know where that one's coming from, but Goose Breeder seemingly the last person left once again. But 7-0 now the score. BMG started to post themselves a pretty hefty CT side. Yeah,
they certainly are. Maybe the Rec 9s will save something for Ubinited, but it's a long road back now. 7-0, and BMG have got everything they need, and their economy is so strong. It's going to be very difficult for Ubinited to break that at any sort of point. So here we go into this one. I'm not sure if I like the playthrough mid personally at the moment coming out from the T-side, but they have managed to catch off Vilga. That's the difference here. Finally punishing her for being able to push down constantly and making the most of it. Finally gets a good weapon in the hands of Potter here. Renowned for her AWPing. Maybe going to get boosted up into the window, take a little cautious peek towards jungle. No one there this time. And 1 minute into this We've still got a lot to be seen from the T side. They've got the first, but can they open any of these sides? I think there's a player just up in ladder. And if Irene breaks through, position will be noted. Very cautious stuff from Ubinited, feeling that maybe the round's a little bit more on now. They've got that gun away. If they could only open up towards one of these sites. Shot comes through. Zaz getting closer here. Irene checking. They didn't catch a glimpse of the two players there either. Holly will come in towards Sean. Miss Harvey going to be boosted up with that Tech 9. Oh, it's Irene coming in from that ladder room. Such a dangerous angle, but Potter puts the ult to work. She got earlier on from Vilga by finding Irene, so at least bringing it back to a 2-to-1 exchange, which isn't too bad for the T side. However, Zaz, our reputation's going to be put to the test here. Giuliano finds Dyers now. 2 just remain for the T side, and every angle they go, there's going to be a player waiting. Sonia readjusts perfectly and makes very light work of the last 2. And you've got to say, BMG looking like they're just outclassing Ubinited right now.
Yeah, I think proving why they've picked this map. They are solid on the CT side. The pistol was all it took, and since then they've not really looked back. There's only been one retake they've had to make. Since then, they've pretty much held sight. Now we're seeing the auto sniper coming out in the hands of Vilga. This could be a serious problem. They set out their A defenses. And of course, we are seeing Ubinited with the AKs. They went with the Tech 9s in the last match. Last round, Potter still with that AWP in hand. May try and create a play, but Ubinited are spread all across the map trying to see if they can get any of those picks. Any of those opening frags. But BMG are not showing.
No, they're making it really hard work as well, but look at this aggression. Zaz feeling confident doing the Swedish style and just going and picking up 1 for the 1 exchange. But the information gathered, once again, pretty darn good, but that's going to force Sonia to push. But still checking corners, picks up the bomb and die, and that could be the round almost done for.
Sonia now, yeah, you can see the information immediately. BMG, they're rotating into position to cover this one off. We do have a quick push though. Potter and Miss Harvey, they're making tracks to try and get in place with this bomb. Sonia's still on her own. Now she's got support coming. Vilga's there with the auto sniper. They're all 3 persons covering off this one. The last person is him, who will manage to sneak around and catch Giuliano off guard. So now we're into 3-on-3. Somewhat unorthodox on this map, because it is a solid push. Miss Harvey just tries to get a little peek through that smoke, of course. Here in spectator mode, sometimes we often see a little bit more, but Sonia was ready and waiting for her. And that's all the information they needed. 19 seconds on the clock. They're just going to try and scuttle and save any weapon they can.
And it is official, just to give out spoilers, because I'm an absolute scumbag. Fnatic do win the major, so let's see who's going to win the female one and get themselves to their own final here. The Intel Challenge. Irene, let's catch a glimpse, but it doesn't matter. The T side run out of time. And we'll be seeing a dominant performance from the Swedes still. This is unbelievable. 9-0. BMG just head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, absolutely dominant performance so far. So here we go. Potter with that orb has to try to create some opportunity here. Tim. No, look at this. Vilga set up with their auto sniper. It's in the wrong place, so they're going straight for this B push. Potter's going to try and open it up. Sonia, if she peeks just at the wrong moment, she'll lose her head. But that is exactly what they needed. That jumping bounce caught a little glimpse, a little flicker, and knew exactly what was coming. Potter eats a grenade. Will continue to hold that angle, but this push has been delayed. Will try and go for the shot. Isn't going to get forced to rotate from BMG yet. They're not being forced into it. They're expecting a fake, and they've actually got 3 people over on the A side still.
Here we go. Push comes in. The T side need to make this count. Great flash comes out. I think that was Irene's actually, and it's held him up. Sonia gets the double. Irene chips in. And now just 2 alive. Dye and Potter are left in Rob Dyer straits, and Potter missing a vital shot there, and Irene will punish it. And Dye now bomb loose, and there's that auto sniper. Vilga. The BM plays come in, but they work so well. And once again, we're seeing these girls just having fun now. Rice
smile on the face there as the auto sniper gets the final kill. 10-0. Fantastic opening CT side for BMG. Dominant performance over Ubinited so far. And now Ubinited really trying to force anything, try and get anything out. They're going with the fast play. They're piling in towards A side. They're straight up the ramp, and Zaz is ready and waiting. Gets herself a double. Can she make it a triple? You can see Potter pushing around Palace. That's not going to work out. One person stands in his die, gets into Sandwich, but immediately shut down. And, well, BMG are just stopping Ubinited every opportunity they get. they've not been able to get close to the site for a while, and those bomb plants, the lack of bomb plants, I should say, are really starting to hurt.
Yeah, they are. And, well, 0 rounds. This is not good. A bit of a match pause coming in. I think they just need to try and adjust something. I assume it's from Ubinited because this scoreline is really not looking good.
No, dominant stuff. Match pause. Come in, no doubt, Ubinited trying to get themselves together. I can see Juvie sat behind them, giving them a little bit of information, trying to figure out exactly what to do here. It's one of those problems, especially on Mirage, when it just seems you're up against an insurmountable task. You're just getting shut out at every site. They've tried A, they've tried B, they've rotated around a number of times to really try and force the situation, try and get something out of this one, but Ubinited are just running headlong into a solid defense. And, you know, you look towards the A side, Zaz holding that ramp perfectly. Every time they try and push it, try and rush it, she manages to catch 2 of them. And that's all you need, just the 2 frags. The rest of the team rotate, cover you off. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's sadly a world apart at the moment. Ubinited just trailing so far behind BMG. It's just mentally looking at that scoreline, it's going to be feeling pretty darn bad for the American side, or North American side, should I say, with the 2 Canadians in the lineup. However, if anyone can, it's these guys. And there is Potter on the screens, but it's time to get back into the game. We are live, and our 2 Tech-9s and Galil, they're going to try and make something out of this. Can they overcome the hurdle? There's been Zaz so far. And here we go. Aggressive start comes out from the CTs, trying to just throw off whatever the T-side are going to come out with. However, they do actually get the opener here. This is not bad. Quick execute coming out of the back of it. Molly trying to stop him, but already 2 players broke through. That's better. The timing is working, but there is still Zaz hiding out here. They surely have to check this. Miss Harvey looks one way, looks the other, but Zaz comes out, gets 1, goes for the follow-up. Irene's got to cross, and oh, this is just perfect play from Zaz, making it look so damn easy. And for the final, Zaz cleans up. Beautiful stuff from start to finish.
Holy cow. They thought they'd gone on the site, and it was such a great start for Ubinited. They got themselves through the palace, up the ramp. They managed to beat the Molly. They managed to get up the ramp and onto the site in time. But Zaz backed away, held a separate angle than she has for the entire matchup so far, and then just find head after head after head. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So Giuliano up close this time, expecting some kind of rush. You can see the Galils. And they're just trying to hold that ramp off, and this is a gigantic brick wall from the Swedes.
Yeah, it is. It's a very talented brick wall at that. Right now, Ubinited are just going to have to try and... I'm surprised they didn't check that corner. That's the worst thing, that Zaz has been consistently playing there, and it's, you know, the difference of when you get on these stages, sometimes you do just kind of lose that little bit of focus, and you just have to bring it back. And at this sort of scoreline, though, 12-0, you're going to be feeling pretty down and out, regardless of how experienced you may be. Because nothing they do really seems to work, and let's be honest, BMG know this is an A play. They've already got players pushed up at B through the spawn almost. And Ubinited need to get going, and pretty darn fast. Once these 2 make it through to mid, we'll know that BMG are well aware of what's coming their way, regardless of the timing. 37 seconds, we're going to see the smokes going down, and let's see if they can make it any better. There is still that phenomenal person, Zaz, here. Just did perfectly, finds Potter. She is playing a different game to the rest of them at the moment, and once again, finally goes down. But this is a little one-sided, and there's not much to be said other than that.
Look how fast they had been rotated from B. They knew it was an A play long ago because they made tracks all the way around the map and were back up ramp before they even just pushed onto site. So that was BMG. They are reading Ubinited every step of the way, and looking at just the frags across the board, it is a very even spread. They are very much working as a team, playing as a team, and winning as a team. Now we're seeing some incredibly deep smokes coming out from Irene there. Sure what that one's covering off. It is going to be a good play here. Irene's ready for an apartments rush, but it's not going to be coming that way, it seems. As Ubinited going to try and slow this one down. Dim does try and create the opportunity. Filga goes down from window. So they have 1 person up. And now they have the mid control. Let's see if they can work anything with this. Dim taking peek. Is this going to be connect to play? They got... It is Miss Harvey up in Delpan right now. Giuliano is holding steady in jungle, but everyone from Ubinited waiting to execute on a given time, it seems, or just waiting to try and find something. The bomb now making its way through the top of mid. Giuliano's hesitantly going to take a peek along with Irene. Irene does take a look, but that's a mistake because Miss Harvey cuts her down. Giuliano tries to get caught, tries to cover them off from Connector, but will get caught out. It is just Zaz quickly taken down. This could be the first round on the board from Ubinited. Sonya's going to try and make the rotation, but she's all alone in a 1-on-5. Miss Harvey with a double so far already. Could she make it a triple as Sonya's going to go looking? But this is a good setup, a good defensive play. Ubinited with 5 people have every single angle covered, including the one that Sonya is about to peek from. And Dai will pick up the first round for Ubinited. They've got to get the next one, and then they've got to have themselves a heck of a CT side.
There's got to be something phenomenal lined up if they want even a chance at this. I don't know. I've got faith in them, kind of, but it's all possible. But it's just not a map you often see it on. It doesn't really allow for it that much, but BMG showing it can be done. But Zaz, 19-8. She is essentially the Olaf right now at BMG. This girl is playing out of her mind, but the aggressive play, once again, the very Swedish thing we've seen coming through here, that just teams like to get up in their face, just push them off their comfort zone. 1 round in, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it from BMG again. Already slightly slower overall from Ubinited, though, slowing things down, being a little cautious, and it makes sense. And Vilga with the AWP, though, could make trouble for these two if they do take it a little too lightly. You can see them already pushing up by A ramp as well. They've got so far up on the CT side. They're going to know that it's going to be mid or B, and Sonya is not going to move a muscle from that spot for quite some time, and she might just get the drop on time if they did push, but they didn't. So now 40 seconds left. Ubinited left with very few options here.
Yeah, that's a clean opening. It was a delayed start, but they managed to get Giuliano down, and that could be an opening that they needed from A. Dim going to go for the boost through that smoke into window, which is where Giuliano's been holding, so they know that this is open. It's giving Vilga some serious problems here on double box. Tries to come around, gets herself one. Hit down in connector, but will quickly get answered by Miss Harvey. And then they have control in towards A site. They've just got to get rid of Zaz, and that's not an easy task as she gets one on the stairs. Miss Harvey drops into sandwich. She gets caught down. And once again, that one woman wrecking ball of Zaz is just keeping them out of the A site. 14-1. Here's a tremendous CT side half from Mirage. BMG
are just another level right now. There's no two ways of putting it. I'd love to actually see the score at the end of that. For Zaz is 22-8 in 1 half. That's not what anyone else can really come close to. That's just incredible stuff. I don't know what to say. She's certainly been a solo fact in towards the amount of rounds that they held onto on A. That, you know, Ubinited clearly had their A strats down. Their executes were perfectly fine. It was just they just couldn't get close overall. So I'll wait for the half to tick over. Ubinited, round by round, I guess, is the phrase that you consistently hear from players who are in this situation. That's how you have to take it. But at 14-1, there's a lot of rounds. And I just don't see them able to do it. However, in their minds, surely they've got to start considering cash. Known as one of the American maps, they should be able to focus back on that. And Miss Harvey then on the screen right now. Hopefully she can pull something back in the second map here, because the first map I have to feel and have to say is almost done for. But let's see how they start. This one off is going to be very important. We're going to have the Molly back in play, and BMG going to be on the T side, and Ubinited on the CT, and this is going to be a long road back for the Americans if they want it.
Yeah, and this pistol round is where they need to start things off. BMG 14-1 up if they were to take this, and they have got the armor and Tech 9 in the hands of Zaz, then they would be looking like a shoe-in for the first map. Here they go. It's a 5-man pile through straight in towards the A site. Zaz has been taken down. This is a very good defensive work from Miss Harvey. Does manage to get 2 from there, but BMG already pushing through. No interesting plants in the bomb, and that may be to their detriment because Irene's getting taken low. This is going to be Potter doing a great defensive work. She'll get a triple. Just fantastic work from Ubinited. Deep, deep pistol defense work there, but you've got to question BMG. They maybe got a little bit cocky with that one, just piling straight through on towards CT spawn.
It's something that the team seems to like doing, actually, a hell of a lot. Even on CT side, they were always up in the faces of Ubinited, and they never really stopped towards it. So this is something that you're going to get a little used to, I guess. But BMG, what can they bring this time? 5-man stack is back almost. And this time they're looking towards mid, it seems. But backing away, and there is still time for them. They don't actually have any smokes or nades. So I can't imagine eventually it will just be an all-in rush.
They all stopped and then waited, and now they go 5 people all piling across the top of mid. I think Potter just caught a glimpse of them, so as soon as she comes around, she's going to see them all charging straight up the mid. They're going straight for connector, but this angle is covered off. It is going to be Miss Harvey with a FAMAS to try and keep them down. Gooseberry comes around, brilliantly gets 1, gets 2. That's going to be Potter pushing out. A great collapse from Ubinited, who will quickly gun them all down in connector. And that was a clean sweep for Ubinited. They need, however, to get many more of them.
Yeah, it's still a long, long way back, and we've seen these all-in plays from BMG, who maybe are just looking for that lucky opening, that one round that they can really punish if they pick up one early on. Let's see what the girls can do now. Already. Potter still sticking with that Tech 9, so maybe looking for the AWP buy in towards the next round. And look at this, once again, lining up 4 players. Tech 9s, no armor though, so the FAMAS will do work, and that will do some as well. That's going to cut off a good couple of players, but they are going to still start pouring out. This could be dangerous. They could get close to this side, but Diane Goose going to try and do some serious work, and Goose is starting to come alive in the second half. And there we go, finally dealt with by Irene, and now just Irene stands. Already got 2. Miss Harvey and Damn could be in trouble. Tech 9s are still so strong, but sadly that a bit of an aim punch just knocks them off. And we'll be seeing 4-14. Ubinited getting back into a reasonable area.
Well, see if they can get their stride on. That's been the first 3. But now we're going to see the AKs coming out from BMG. And now with a full assortment of nades, head armor, this is going to be the real test for Ubinited. Potter with that AWP. Going to check out that ramp. Will potentially find a head. Instead, smoked, covered off there. Was her own team, of course. But as soon as she comes around this corner, there is 2 members on the top. There's one in Delpan as well. This has been a fast positional move from BMG, and Potter's not aware of it. She doesn't see anyone. She rotates back. Maybe heard the footsteps there, I think, of Irene.
Certainly would be a factor into this, and Ubinited now going to need to really play cautiously. Zaz already finding Dim is not going to help, but Miss Harvey pushes up. I don't know if she's is fully aware there's a player just to the left on Tetris. She's going to peek around. She's in a great spot, actually. Gets the tag on both, but neither fall as Sonia will deal with her. And now 4v3. It looks like the T-side are starting to gain control this round, but Potter does have the AWP. Misses the vital shot there. Gets punished by Irene. The bomb will go down. And now just die in this. It's not looking good at all. Sitting in towards jungle. Does at least get Vilga down, but the aggressive play just keeping her back. And the nades starting to hurt. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And BMG get on map point.
So 15-4. Fantastic start. Mirage was BMG's map choice. So you would expect them to be strong on here, but I don't think anybody was expecting a 14-1 posting of that first map, especially not Ubinited, who themselves have gone with Cash as their map choice, which will be coming up as this one concludes. But right now, 15-4. Let's get back into the game as BMG look to push forward and get themselves that 16th round on the board.
Yeah, big round now. Big round for BMG. They're in the good position for it too. The CT side don't have the best economy. They've still got a FAMAS in there and a 5-7 on Goose. Considering Goose is starting to play really well, I was about to say it's a shame she was going to be down on such a slightly weaker weapon, but she does manage to put it to work against Vilga. However, BMG still looking for this one. A bit of an... It was initially looking like an A, but they've actually dispersed and maybe looking elsewhere. However, Miss Harvey finds Giuliano. And well, Zaz starting to prowl. We know how good she is here. And once again, just one taps Miss Harvey down. This girl's playing out of her mind. Smoking off towards jungle, but where's that bomb? It's yet to commit. It's on the way back round towards A. And here we go. Zaz put to the test. Not going to get it that time. Irene starts working out through connector. Takes down Goose, but stopped in her tracks. Now Sonia, 1v2. Does have the AWP. Does actually... I think she just tagged Potter as well. Down to 14 HP. 30 seconds. She does have the bomb, so there's everything still possible. Knows where one player is. and has a good idea where the second. How's she going to try and pull this one into her favor? She needs to be able to take a 1v1. That smoke will probably force the player, I think it's Dai, up towards the stairs. Will she expect Potter pushing to the left side? Spins around, not going to get in, and Potter's there. And BMG gets stopped for once.
Good play from Potter there. Got tagged up, tucked herself in for a good portion of that. And as soon as that smoke came out, managed to make the move. BMG, well, they're forcing it. Mac 10s all around. Okay, let's see how this one works out. Not too sure they needed to force this one. Honestly, they could quite easily have saved or just gone Tech 9, but I think maybe they're going to go for style points here. It is going to be a quick rush straight through B Apartments. But Goose and Dai are ready and waiting. There's one, drops down. Goose manages to get one, won't get the second as they get run down. Potter's rotated. Vilga's been ticked off from the kitchens there. Dai on the back of bench will get one down. Tries to get a second. Brilliant stuff. Spins around. Bomb plant comes in, but it's just Irene now. Needs to go for the reload on the M4 as well. That means everybody from Ubinited is going to move in. Potter about to peek around the corner. Bam! Down. Easy round for Ubinited. Apparently the Mac 10 rush doesn't work out so well.
No, it doesn't, and Ubinited hold here, and a couple more rounds will make it seem a little more manageable. However, still, it is map point, and it's not looking too favourable.
Yeah, lots of smiles on the face of BMG. I think they just had fun with that round, honestly. But we'll see what they do with this one. It's going to be P250s, I think. Are we going to go for anything else? No, P250 rush. So let's see where these pistols pile into. It's going to another P... Oh, it's the distraction. It's the 4-1 split. Now, with that bomb, it's going to lie in wait. It's going to get smoked off. This fast push into B should try and draw all the attention from BMG in towards B side, just like they did before. They're going to expect maybe something else, but they've actually opened it up really well. Giuliano and Sonia do go down. Dai does manage to get a third, but Dai, well, this is where the fake backfires, when somebody sticks around. But unfortunately for them, it is two people from Ubinited waiting on site. Zaz does finally go down, and now Vilga, who was trying to be the patsy, trying to sneak them in there in that 4-1 split. It's backfired, and they held the angles. Good disciplined play from Ubinited. Didn't fast rotate, didn't panic, and do manage to catch out the bomb planter. But next round, there's going to be a full buy from BMG.
It is, and it's going to be a tough one to get past. BMG are going to start wanting to close this. They don't want to let it get too close. It's when you start getting nervous, when these rounds start coming back and they get, oh, don't too close to the camp. We won't be seeing an AWP in the hands of Vilga this time. Going to be opting to stick with the AK. However, Potter going for the early peek towards ramp. Not going to find anything just yet as BMG hold the peek on the corner. And this looks like a delayed A execute, but there are a lot of players here already for the CT side, so it's going to be quite difficult. Smoke comes in. Flashes follow.
Nice.
Sarvi pushed up nicely, using the smoke well. Gets one, gets... Oh, it was a team kill on the second, and now 3v2. Vilga and Zaz, last two standing, but they are playing out of their absolute skins right now, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they could make something work. Bomb down. Time now on their side. They just need to play this one correctly, and I know they can. Dai, they're getting flashed. Zaz watches the push from Connector, and now Vilga waiting for that peek on CT. Will she second guess herself? Oh, she gets caught by Potter peeking out, and now just Zaz dealt with by Dai. And another one on the board for Ubinited.
Nice addition from BMG there as they made that push through. The usual smokes on stairs and Connector were followed by a molly that actually went into sandwich, just to make sure there's nobody tucked in there. And if you think back to BMG when they were on the CT side, actually they used that position quite a lot. I think it was Sonia or Irene that managed to tuck herself in there and get a hatful of kills a number of times. But BMG are starting to, I wouldn't say falter a little bit maybe, just they're trying a few different things, and Ubinited actually working out well. That smoke is going to cut off the underpass, which looks like it's going to get made use of. We are going to see, I think it's Irene that's going to push up through there. Zaz, unfortunately, was taken down in the meanwhile. That grenade's going to be right on point on Irene. Doesn't do too much damage, though. Has got the full collection of head armor, so we'll hold off. Vilga checking out short. You can see Sonia also making her way through B Apartments on the X-ray, along with the bomb. So it seems there will be B players. Irene just keeps that window covered off in time for Vilga to push along short.
50 seconds now to see what they can make of this. BMG not really committed anywhere just now. Still got players in mid. This could pretty much rotate on a dime, and they're going to try and fake out A and then go hit up B. But we're actually seeing players knowing this. And look at the CT side. They've actually got players pushing up on towards the B side. So, Dai waiting. She knows what's happening. She knows what's up. Ubinited reading the game really well right now. Not falling for the fake through connector. Already shots come in. Sonya does find one. Giuliano breaks in. This looks like BMG could turn this 3v2 now. Potter and Dim. Last two standing here for Ubinited. Can they salvage the first map? Irene catches a glimpse of one. CT spins towards short, gets the one on short. Dim goes down, and now Potter just crossed through. Giuliano on the other side of that smoke. And now it's just down to Potter. 1v3. Bomb is ticking. And Potter not going down without a fight. She does pick up one, but it's done and dusted. BMG win map 1.
Yeah, solid performance from BMG. 14-1, sorry, in the first half was really what did it for them. Took them a while to get going on the T side, but they do manage to close it out after a couple of fancy attempts, a couple of Mach 10 rushes. You never know really what works out. I think they had a little bit of fun on that side, that's for sure. Second map will be catch. That's going to be coming up after the break, but a solid start from Ubinited on their own map.
Yeah, you've got to say that BMG just looked so far ahead, though, the whole time. Like, Ubinited started to work their way back in. Once they started getting a few picks that were really useful, and they started to build together, it's starting to look like it was possible. They started to get enough rounds where you started to almost believe that there was something coming out of that. But as soon as you saw the full buy come out from BMG and they had everything they needed, it was just unreal to watch. And they showed so much potential in that I don't know what the opposition can bring on the next maps. I'm just hoping that the American side are good on the American maps. Cash is always referred to as one of the most played out American maps in the pool, completely from male to female teams. Everyone says it's always been the American Pug map. So hopefully they can find a bit of a home ground there, but it worries me because let's be honest, even just the 1-to-1 ratio of how these players were performing was certainly on BMG's side.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how that one turns out, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Intel Challenge here in Katowice. It is BMG, Bad Monkey Gaming, up against Ubinited in the second semi-final. CM Storm are already there, who will be joining us. Find out after the break.